everyone, Jessica Spice here, and welcome. As you can tell, this is not a podcast episode. So, on weeks where I do not have a Paragon of Play podcast to upload, I will be uploading just a little solo video. So this week's topic is virtual teaching and kind of some things that helped me to be really successful in virtual teaching this summer in our summer learning program. So I won't get into all the details because I have not been able to make this video be less than 30 minutes long. So we're just going to dive right in and talk a bit about what made virtual teaching very, very successful for me. So I'll quickly touch on how I know virtual teaching this summer was really successful for me. And there are three things: data, the parents, and the most important thing that I'll reveal last. So the data. I am very much a relationships first person, but I understand the value of data and why data is important in evaluating a program and evaluating how well something is going. So the goal of our program was to increase math and literacy skills for our students. And so we assessed their math and literacy skills at the beginning and the end of the program. And my kids in just 3 weeks had tremendous growth. We learned a lot in 3 weeks. Another indicator that the program went really well was parent satisfaction. We got lots of great feedback from parents. They were very happy with how I taught, what I taught, how much their kids had learned in those 3 weeks. So the parents were very impressed with the programming. Parents were present while their children were being taught, so their opinion was very valid. And the third and most important indicator of success was the kids. So they were happy to be with me every day during our summer learning program. They were happy to play the games we were doing. I got reports from parents saying like they would be excited to get on the computer each morning, or they were, asking for me on the weekends, but it's like, Miss Spice needs a break, need my weekends. But the kids were loving it. They were having fun. That's my most important indicator for success, is student satisfaction. What made my programming so successful? I will break it down into a few different things that helped me to be successful and help my students to be successful. So first and foremost is attitude. Your attitude. That's a hard one, right? Because do we want to be teaching online? Probably not. I love that I am wearing my pajama pants while teaching. Definitely wearing my pajama pants. Don't love that I can't do the things I normally do and be with the students in a room and they're looking at me on a screen, and it's not ideal. And but I also don't love that we're in a global pandemic. So not loving that situation. So I could have a really negative attitude, and I could come on the screen each day and I can be a negative Nelly and go on like this and hey, boys and girls, I know you don't want to be here, but we have 2 hours, so you're going to need to sit down and we're going to do this. You've only got 6 weeks of classes and then you get a break. I know you would much rather be outside. But yeah, let's do this. So, first we're going with the letter A. So A says ah, or or A. What does A say? What does this say? Okay, so that was acting. That's not gonna get them engaged and wanting to be there and wanting to be involved and wanting Monday to come so they can see you again. Let's switch that out. And I'm gonna act again, but not really, because I'm gonna act like myself. Hi everyone, I am so glad. Mind you, I'm a primary person, so maybe you wouldn't be exactly like this with older kids, but you kind of get the gist of it. Hello everyone, I am so glad to see you today. And oh, look at you, hello. I'm so happy to see you. And we're so lucky we get to be together again today, aren't we? We are lucky ducklings. Wow, so today we have a lot of really fun stuff in store. We only get 2 hours together, so we're gonna see how much fun we can fit into those 2 hours and how much learning we can get in. All right, we even have a special guest today. Our special guest's name rhymes with Gelmo. Who might that be? Cue bringing Elmo out and Elmo reads the story and blah, blah, blah. I'm using props. I am being animated. I am saying to the children, I'm happy to see you. We are so lucky we get to be here together. I can't believe we only have 2 hours together. And we are all so fortunate to get to see each other again today. I am using positive wording. So I am not droning on. I'm not acting disinterested. And I, as a person, am genuinely invested in teaching these children. And that's why I have that positive, upbeat attitude. A concern some educators had was, well, these parents are there and they're watching me, and that's really embarrassing. To be like, let's get out Elmo, and Elmo's wearing a pylon on his head. You know what? As a parent, if my kid's teacher can entertain him with an Elmo doll teaching him the alphabet for 20 minutes and he's actually happy and laughing and learning something while doing it, I am drinking my coffee. I am not judging that teacher, and I'm also secretly eating chocolate for breakfast. So we feel anxious. We feel worried about how others are going to perceive or judge us. But our job is to teach these children, and those parents are glad that you're doing it while they're secretly eating chocolate for breakfast. Thinking about what is in your realm of control. I can't control that I'm teaching online. I can't control that we're in a global pandemic. But what I can control is having a positive attitude. And I can control the fact that there are ways I can speak. And there are things I can do that can help to make this a positive and worthwhile experience for my students and for myself. Number 2 is having a dedicated space. You need to have your tools on hand, ready to go. If you lose their interest while you're teaching remotely, they've left the room and they're in their sister's room chewing on her Polly Pocket. Or they left and they are now driving a scooter in their hallway because you are not physically in that environment. They can go anywhere. So having your tools and your supplies on hand and ready to go is going to be integral to being successful.
All right, I figured I'd give you a quick little tour of my 3-tiered organizer that I had on hand during remote teaching. Up top were just my general read aloud books I always had on hand. Top drawer, general stuff, markers, chart markers, dry erase markers, sticky notes because you never know when you're going to need to take a note from a parent. Middle drawer was, there's my dry erase board. Weird. Math supplies. So I had supertizing cards. I had addition flashcards. We played different games with those. Supertizing cards, dice, 10 frames. Bottom drawer was all of my literacy supplies. Everything was kept in the same spot each day. A lot of free resources from This Reading Mama and the Measured Mom in there. Great websites to get just easy to use printables. And I also had just some general cards and things that went with the different skills that we were working on. Everything was based on games and play. So we kept it really fun and interesting. And that kept me organized to have that there.
Having your space set up so that it is comfortable for you. I always had a coffee, a sparkling water, and a plain water on hand, as well as a box of granola bars. My kids took breaks, but that didn't necessarily mean I could get up and leave other than to go to the bathroom. So that might include hoovering down a granola bar while I'm taking some quick notes that I need to write down before I move on with my session. Now, bear in mind, I don't have a big house, so my space is set up in a corner of my bedroom, but I'm including my comfort items, including Kleenex. Your nose runs at the worst possible times. My comfort items, and I have my teaching tools, and I have anything I could need just on hand right there, ready to go. Let's get into the planning a bit. I am using backwards design to plan. I knew I had 3 weeks with these students to work on math and literacy. Okay, this is where I want them to get to. I have 3 weeks to do it. And I think especially with how things are going with COVID, you may only want to plan in little chunks like that. Now, your plan that you have to give to whoever's above you probably needs to be a year-long plan, but you're planning 2 or 3 weeks at a time in chunks. Hopefully you can collaborate with other educators so you can share what you're doing. But you are saying, hey, by the end of 3 weeks, I want to have taught or to accomplish this, this, and this. Okay, now I can fill out a plan on my calendar stating everything I want to get to. So backwards design is definitely the way to go. I will talk about that a bit more in my blog posts. Novelty, that comes back to that charisma piece, that being happy and engaged and excited piece. I did bingo with my students. I had stuffed animals popping out and saying hello. I had special guests, which were just like silly characters that I drew on chart paper and that were like teaching the students different things. So I was using novelty to help keep them engaged and involved and excited to be there every day. Parent involvement. So at the end of each week in my summer learning program, the parents got an email called 2 Stars and a Wish. And it was 2 amazing things that their child had accomplished that week. And then the wish is, this is what we're going to be focusing on going forward or in this next week or over these next few days with your child. Attaching a free resource that they can work on at home with that student. So my parents went gaga over those free printables. Some of my parents did not have printers, and that's the next thing I'm going to touch on. So anything that I attached was something that they could use on their computer screen, and I made sure to explicitly state that as well, that this is something you can use on your computer screen or you can print it off. So those parents hearing kind of the progress that was happening each week helped keep them really involved and engaged in what was going on as well. So the last piece, which I think is going to be really important to touch on, understanding that your families are going to have different access to resources and different needs and things like that. So you cannot assume everyone has a printer or that they can afford a printer, or you can't expect that they're going to go buy a printer. I would say most parents don't have a printer. So when I was planning for my students to play bingo, at first I was making a bingo board that had pictures in it, and they were going to have to like read the card on my screen and match to the picture. And I stopped halfway through, because I am not going to expect a 35-year-old woman with 1,000 other things to do to sit down and copy these 17 little pictures to make the child's bingo board. Instead, we did word or number bingo boards or letter bingo boards because that was simple, easy for them to copy down. The parents said that they didn't mind and they were okay with doing that, but I wasn't going to subject them to drawing pictures of sailboats and cats and rings and capes. So keeping in mind accessibility and access to resources for those families is going to really make it smooth sailing. So when you're doing that backwards design, when you're doing your planning, you're keeping in mind, okay, well, I want to do this, but are my families going to be able to have access to the resources to be able to do this? I can't expect that they have tape. I can't expect that you have glue unless I know that our school has provided that to you. So that might be something, depending on what kind of program you're teaching, you need to be aware of what supplies are sent to the families, because especially during a pandemic, I'm not expecting anyone to go out and buy glue sticks or tape or anything like that. So that also might be something where you communicate with the families in advance and talk about what supplies they have on hand, or talk with whoever's above you, seeing if supplies can get out to families. So as you're doing that backwards design, as you're doing that planning, every step of the way going, okay, am I expecting them to have something on hand? I can't expect that everyone has glue sticks. I can't expect that everyone has a purple or a green marker. So that is something really important to keep in mind, is being realistic with what you're expecting of families. So to recap, you're having a positive attitude. We are having a space that is set up and organized in advance, so there is never wait time. Because when you're watching a movie or a video game on a screen, okay, there might be a little bit of wait time, but we don't want to take that risk. We are using backwards design to ensure that we are meeting our goals in small, reasonable chunks considering the situation that we're in. We are using a novelty to make things exciting and engaging for our lovely, amazing students. we are keeping parents involved and also being aware of their access to resources. So I hope that this little set of tips has been helpful for you in thinking about how you're going to be setting up your remote teaching program, whatever it is, and all you teachers and early childhood educators and educational assistants and tutors out there, or speech language pathologists. I can't remember to name everyone, so sorry if I missed you. I hope that this is helpful to you. Please refer to the blog post below for further information, and thank you for watching.
Thank you for tuning in. Press that like button and subscribe to get updates for future videos. Comment below what is important to you in getting ready for remote learning this school year. Can't wait to hear from you. Bye.